Welcome to Rugby AM here on Free Sports. Another action-packed show coming up. I'm joined by Jamie Jones-Buchanan, my partner in crime, and England's Lois Fussell, also Leeds Rhinos captain. And it's the day after an amazing show, the first ever Women's Super League game, and you must be so proud because you got the win.
Yeah, we got the win. It was an amazing day. Really excited. We haven't stopped smiling since. I think all the girls are just absolutely buzzing. So, yeah, we got the win and we're back in training tomorrow. Looking forward to it.
As you walked onto the pitch, both men's team made a guard of honour for you, which I thought was fantastic, and it looked great from the stands. The game kicked off and thousands of people still stayed to watch a women's game. So the promotion worked with the Bulls, but I don't think they were very happy to get beat by you guys.
No, I don't think either team would have been happy with the loss, would they, in a local derby. But no, it was great. The actual the occasion was fantastic. The men's team doing a guard of honour, but the young girls that they invited from the community clubs, it really inspirational for them, I think, to just be involved and see where they can potentially get to.
I can understand why you were so emotional. Obviously, Bradford's your old club, but what did it feel like going back there under a different guise but getting the win?
It were really weird playing against your teammates. It were really weird. Obviously, they were my teammates for probably about 6 years, and then moving on, it were always going to be a big move. But I think the emotional side were just it were like just overwhelming. Like, it's been from probably July last year, maybe August last year, that we've been talking about launching this team and working hard at the Rhinos and at the foundation, and it's been a lot of pressure, and people saying, how's it going to go and things, and we genuinely didn't know. But yesterday it felt really positive with the girls, and it clicked, and Cuthbert's been doing a great job with us, and everything just fell into place, and it was a really good day.
I think it's worth saying that rugby league's not just a man's game, so it's definitely a woman's game as well. It's a diverse game, it's for anybody really, but we've all heard of the woman's scorn, and they can get up for it and get a little bit aggressive. But how impressed have you been with the rise of the women's game in the last 18 months, 2 years?
Oh, it's been really impressive, particularly in this sort of like last 12 months. The backing from the Super League club has been absolutely key in that, and that will be going forwards. The support of people like Adam Cuthbertson and looking at St Helens, they've had Roby in doing some coaching and stuff.
Well,
exactly, and that's excellent. And on the back of the point of what you two were saying, that it is skillful, it is big hits and things like that. It's really unfair for us to say that if people haven't seen it, they're not going to know that. So it's just about getting down, seeing a game. It's being streamed. It was streamed yesterday, and some people said, I don't mean to sound patronising, but it were better than what we expected. And that's what we want to be able to showcase the game and give it the respect and hopefully the limelight that it deserves.
Right, we're going to go over now to see Benka Kane, the legend who's currently at York, tearing it up in League One, a massive 66 points to 6 win this weekend. He gives us his Getting to Know You.
Hello, I'm Ben Cockayne from York City Knights. My hero, bloody hell, you put that one straight on me. My granddad, he took me down to start watching Cass when I was probably, I can remember him, he used to lift me over the turnstiles, and I went down watching Cass then right up until I left for the army at 17 really. So my granddad, great, well, my hero. No, but I like Leeds United even though I like a good steak, sirloin steak, medium. First car, Renault Clio, put some 17-inch alloys on it and a crappy exhaust, looked like a right doily. Favourite film is Green Mile. Walking the mile, walking the green mile. I'm a Bon Jovi fan. Living on a Prayer is probably my go-to one. Me and Scotty Morrell go back a long way, but it just annoys me when I play against him now. But yeah, Scotty would be my best mate. The best moment that still is in my memory very fondly is the first time I got promoted to Super League. Widnes 2006 October. Just crying with joy, and I've never really been one for crying with joy, and that was probably the first time I really cried with joy at 22, 23 years old, so that's my favourite ever moment. When Chris Chester rang me and said, sorry mate, you're not playing at Wembley. I was fuming. I would have probably flattened him if he'd have been in front of me. favourite superhero? Not really big on this. Banana Man. I've never been to a gig. How weird's that? I once went to Party in the Park in Leeds when I was about 13, and I drank a bottle of cider on way on a bus. Series, my best ever series would be Sons of Anarchy, motorbike gang. Do you know what? I would probably buy my parents a house outright wherever they wanted to live. That's probably the first thing I'd do, because they've had to put up with some throughout their life with me. America. Love America. We've been there, me and my wife have been there the last 3 years. We just travel, we go for a month at a time. Season finishes end of September. We'd go away in October and come back beginning of November, so love America. Oh, my favourite, if I can go right back until when I was watching Cass, I used to love a back rower by the name of Dale Fritz. I don't know if any of you guys remember him. Dale Fritz, back rower, a bit of a shimmy. I had number 12 Fritz on the back of my shirt when I was at Cass, but if I can go back a little bit before that, probably St John Ellis. He was my first kind of rugby league hero. I used to watch him chasing Martin the Fire all over the place. In Hull, the Tie House, Phil Rowland, if you heard that, I want a freebie next time I'm in.
It's time now to look back across last weekend's fixture and pick out 3 fixtures that impressed us in the studio. I'm going to start off with Wakefield beating Saints. Massive result for Wakefield because they've lost out to you guys by 2 points, Hull by a point.
Yep.
And it just seemed like the boys were just missing out. And I spoke to Kermo, spoke to Keegan, they're all like, it's that close.
Yeah. They've just got to have that confidence to win them big games. I feel like a broken record sometimes. I keep saying Wakefield are a great side, and they were really, really tough to play against last week for us. And this week they've got the fruits of their labour and their persistence and beating the top of the League of Saints, who are flying high. We've got some quality right across the pitch, in the pack, big pack, probably the biggest pack in Super League. Some really quick demons on the edge there, and some guys who can really boss them about in Finn, and it's just been good for them, and well done.
I had a great conversation with Sean Long this morning about the Legends stuff. Obviously, Long will be taking up his position as the Lancashire halfback with pride, and he was saying that they just started the game like on fire, and Saints just couldn't get back into it. But he said they're really well coached, really put together a team, and he said Gilly had done an especially good job with the D. He says the goal line defence were outstanding. He says it really, even when they come back and he felt like Saints were going to get back into it, some of the defending were unbelievable. Reece Lynn with a man of match performance as well.
Well, we've just been watching some Lee Crooks footage, haven't we, from back in the 90s, and just watching the way they play, how deep they run, some of the plays that they put on. You've got to try something a little bit different, and defences are on top of the game, I think, at the minute, because a lot of teams do the same things each week, and when you become an expert at defending that, it's hard to break teams down. And it does. How many games we're seeing now that comes down to a 1 point or a penalty goal in the last few minutes? So, you know, the team who starts to bring something a little bit different to the game will probably get their fruits of the labour later on. But what do you think, Lois, in terms of the way that women play, maybe in comparison to the men? Do you watch some of the men's game and try and emulate what they're doing, or do you just play to your own strengths?
No, I think obviously we are looking at sort of like mirroring the same sort of way that the men play. I think at Leeds we're trying to play a little bit off the cuff, no pun intended. But no, he's just wanting to play what we see, and obviously game management is important, and I think that's something that in the women's game we can be a lot better at, and I'm just glad that not as many of the women's games are coming down to 1 pointers at the minute, because I don't back myself for a drop goal.
Second game picking out Castleford versus Catalan, 41-0. Jonesy.
Yeah, but we just mentioned Castleford there, and the way that they do attack, they can attack, and we've seen that all last year. And I'm not so sure where the 1 point come from.
Gailey, it must be Gailey, must be. Loves the drop goal.
Bit of a throwaway drop goal just before half time to win it or something like that. But just quality again, you know, Catalan struggling a little bit.
Liam Watts as well had a great game by all accounts. And Batley hammering Toulouse, it's a great result. over at the Foxes Biscuit Stadium, Lois?
Yeah, I was quite shocked to see it. I saw the half-time result and then and the full-time, but a great result for them, and they'll be pleased to beat them because Toulouse have been in form.
And it's kind of in the family for you, because one of my close family friends is your cousin.
Yeah, I was with Laura on Saturday, so I were keeping up to date, and yeah, a great result for them, and I'm sure that they'll be dead chuffed.
And that's the wife of Alex Rowe, you know well from running over you last year.
Yeah, did run over me a few times. What a monster. He used to put down middle eights, took some grappling, but the big lads slow down towards back end of the game, Simo. So as long as you hang in there, you're all right. But he's a good player, and well done, Batley.
Right, we've got a new feature on the show. You mentioned it a little bit earlier on,
Yep.
looking at some old footage, and this is the legend, Crooksy, Lee Crooks, as we take a trip down memory lane.
If you look at the modern day Cass, they're bringing back that classy Cass scenario, but we played some fantastic football that year.
Classy Cass is their name, and certainly they put the class on here for everybody at Headingley. Castleford 33, Wigan 2. Tremendous performance.
We went to Bradford in the semi-final, and it's an interesting one there because Paul Newell played for Bradford, and he was on fire that season, and he was scoring tries for fun, and he was a danger man, and John Joyner said to me, we need to sort Newey out, we need to stop him somehow and that. And I went, what do you mean? So he went, well, I'll let you think about that. We started the game, and a bit mad, I can't remember how far it was into the game, but I managed to, I found myself flitting about on the edge a little bit, and Newey carried the ball in, and we accidentally clashed heads, and Newey went down, and David Hobbs ran over, and he said, you've broke his jaw, and I went, what are you on about, are you a doctor? So, anyway, the referee come over, and he actually said to me, if he gets up, you can stay on, but if he don't, you're off. And I went, well, it was an accident. He went, well, that's just how it is. Anyway, fair play to Newey, he got up, and we went on and won the game. I got man at match, and took a lot of abuse from Chris Casely in the boardroom afterwards, because he didn't believe it was just an accidental clash of heads. So we ended up in the final, and we stayed away in the final. We stayed in an hotel prior to the final on the Friday. And you looked at their team and you looked at our team, and I thought our pack were quite uncompromising at times, because we had a bit of a mixture of everything. So we had, there was myself, and Richard Russell was a hooker, who was very good outside. He was tough, but he wasn't dirty. But Martin Ketteridge played at, I think in the front row at the other side, and then the back rowers were Ian Smales and Tony Morrison, and Tara Nichow was loose forward. Their team were an exceptional team, and I think that the biggest thing for them is, one of the reasons why they were so successful is because they chose to go full time before anybody else had ever dreamed about going full time. They had people like Joe Lydon and Jason Robinson, Andy Platt and Kelvin Skerritt, Farrell, Clarkey in the back row. So you looked at their team on paper and you think, wow, it's going to be tough, this. What we did that year was, certainly in the final, was we got a couple of early tries.
As Ford looks to move the ball out wide, Nichow, he's got an overlap out here, he gets into Blackmore, he's going himself, and Nichow's there! To Erna Nichow, linked up twice in the movement, superb passing in midfield, it's on the foot tackle, Mike Ford moves it out wide, Old Castleford are queuing up here for the kick from Ian Smales, 3 Castleford men racing for it, and Grant Anderson is there! Kick from Ian Smales.
Wigan bombarded us, I think, just before half-time, and we was under the pump for about 15 minutes, and they couldn't score, and they had a try disallowed. if I'm right, I think Jason Robinson had a try disallowed.
Edwards, Botica, and Botica kicking from Robinson, but he's miles offside. Oh, he was well offside, was Jason Robinson.
And we went back up the other end of the field and scored, and that was it. And you just could tell them they'd gone.
John Joyner shrieking instructions down on the bench. Is it for a drop goal from Tony Kemp? Yes, it is, and it is a drop goal from the Kiwi.
Kelvin Skerritt come in and just poleaxed Andy A, I think it was, near the sideline, and obviously the infamous Mick Morgan. If you've heard the video or the recordings of the video, just went on, and certainly there was a few expletives within there about the referee and who I think was Mr. Campbell at the time, and what he should be doing, and questioned his parentage.
Andy A! Oh, what about that? Send him off! Send the dressing gate up! Get him off the field! That was diabolical! Get him off the field! That's just typical of what it is! Get him walking! They don't like it! Walk him, Campbell, if you've got any bottle! If you've got any bottle, Campbell, he should walk! That was absolute diabolical! It's going to be a yellow card! I can't speak! You bottleless get, Campbell! You bottleless get!
Beyond that, we kicked the ball into touch, and we had a set play, which we call Parramatta. I think the euphoria, we'd already won the game by that time. It was 20-something points to 2. There was about 5 minutes left. The tap penalty was on the 20-metre line, on the 20-metre line, just about. And I come up to 40, and I said, well, we're just a bit further away from the 20-metre line, and then I said, well, we'll take 2 in for party time. And he knew exactly what I meant.
With the man of the match, Castleford forward Martin Ketteridge. Martin, a marvellous game. You've equalled the highest score in a Regal Trophy final. Couldn't be better, really. I think we've just beaten it.
I didn't realise at the time that I'd brought the record for the most points scored by anybody in a Regal Trophy final or whatever, but which was probably secondary to what had happened anyway during the game. All the lads had gone off and celebrated, and I'd spent about half an hour doing interviews, radio interviews for different channels and all this, and TV and all the other stuff, and by the time I'd got into the dressing room, they'd sucked all the champagne and stuff, so I wasn't right happy about that, but no, it was, I'd have to say it's probably one of the most inspirational games that I've played in, and as I said, the only time where you could say that everybody had done their bit.
Recovering from the celebrations this morning, it was still a case of having to read about it to believe it for skipper Lee Crooks and his family.
Very, very proud, yeah, they all played great. Every one of them played really well, especially Lee, of course.
It wasn't just the players that were celebrating, it was just like a big family celebrating, because as I say, everybody knows everybody else in this town, and it meant so much for everybody. It was unbelievable.
It's a day everyone in Castleford, a town steeped in rugby league history, will never forget.
It's great to hear the legend Lee Crooks' thoughts there, and that Mick Morgan commentary gets me every time. My favourite part of Rugby AM Live, the NCL show, is travelling to games, listening to Mick Morgan's stories.
He's an entertainer, isn't he? I think we're riding a bit of Wagger's wave with the entertainment he brings to Rugby AM on a Wednesdays, and Mick Morgan on a weekend. NCL Live is fantastic, but the best thing for me is listening to them stories. That's probably my favourite part of Rugby AM, listening to the history and the heritage and some of those old players. And on Saturday as well, last week, it was big Bill Asher's 70th birthday party. I want to give him a big shout out, and I met up with him and went over and showed him my face. Billy Boston was there, and the great Andy Gregory as well. And this is the night after we get beat by Wigan, mind, so it wasn't the easiest thing being in St Jude's Community Club.
Did you get it off any fans?
I did get a little bit, but they're all right. You know what? They're all right, good fun, and it was worth the trip over just for that photo.
We'll talk about the NCL stuff in the second half of the show, but what did Stanley give you as a player and a person?
Well, as far as rugby league goes, it gave me everything. It was that proverbial flower bed from which I grew, and so many lads who've made it to the professional game have done as well. People like Gareth Carvel, Mark Calderwood, Jamie Peacock, even Mickey McCoran. He was a Stanley boy as well.
And this weekend, it's a derby,
yeah,
and it's playing your old team, Lois, East Leeds.
Yeah, it's a great club for both men's and women and girls rugby league. It were a really important weekend for them this weekend. They fielded under 12s, 14s, 16s and a women's side at East Leeds, which is absolutely outstanding, and credit goes to all the guys supporting it there.
I think it's worth mentioning as well, the Leeds Rhinos women's team is made up of a multitude of those teams as well, because you didn't just want to strip the best players from a big club and pretty much lead them in poverty void of a women's team. That's a big key to sustainability, isn't it?
Yeah, we were really conscious of doing that, and we've tried to be really, really fair with all of our community clubs and community coaches, because we appreciate that they're the biggest driving force in the community. There's only so much we can do, and they're the ones there that are there like 90% of the time, 80% of the time. So we've recruited well. We've got girls from probably all the community clubs in the under-19 setup, all the open age, and that's a real credit to those clubs. And I'm sure this Saturday's NCL game will be a really tasty one, because it's two teams in Leeds, and you want to come out on top, don't you?
There's a black girl at East Leeds. I think she's about 15. Unbelievable player.
Cathway?
I'm not sure. I've seen her play one time, and I thought, wow. Unbelievable, strong as an ox, big, strong girl. The
quality of player that is coming through, if we can support them and guide them through to open age and give them that bridge in the 16s to 19s, which is really important, because it's a big jump when you get to 16 and you're told that you're playing open age. You've got to be really confident and been in the game a long time, and you don't want to put anyone off. So that 16s to 19s programme that we're doing will be really helpful in building confidence and making the skill level that's required to go into the next stage.
How does a girl who's watching this show, or a dad who's got a young daughter, how would he get involved with rugby league?
Just get involved, go on the RFL's website, they've got a find your club page, but there's loads of options, there's so many teams, and just get involved in the fastest growing sport that there is at the minute.
So finishing the part tonight, we're going to hear from one man who knows a derby inside out. Lee Radford has played for Hull, coached Hull in the biggest game in rugby league, especially in one city, and he's had some good times and bad times, and thanks to Bachelors, we're offering you a great competition. Check this out, this is Lee Radford's Hull Derby Memories, and we'll see you in part 2 for more Rugby AM.
All you Hull KR and Hull FC fans, get on rugbyam.co.uk. Fantastic prize from Bachelor's Mushy Peas. Check it out. For me, I'm red and white territory, so all my friends are red and white. So my WhatsApp is not checkable if we get beat in a derby game. So it means an awful lot to me to have bragging rights within the city and make sure we get that result, otherwise my life ain't worth living. I think coming back, I think it was 17, coming back from, was it 16? It was, I think it was 20-0 down at half-time. That was a real special one. Camera kept panning on me, and Adam Pearson was in front of me, and it kept panning on his face, and my backside was twitching a little bit, that is for sure. So we went on a crazy winning run after that as well. So that was definitely a special occasion. Yeah, it's horrible. So I think it was 15 out show. I'm really good with numbers, as you can tell. We got beat 40, I think it was 42-0 in the Good Friday derby. And I can remember the fans singing "You're getting sacked in the morning." Obviously my kids was in the crowd, so that lit the flame. And then 12 months later, The scoreline was very similar, and our fans were singing it to Chris Chester, saying you're going to get sacked in the morning. And I appreciate how how under the pump he was that day. So yeah, it's very nice to get a win over them. That is for sure. Fish and chips, got to be. I'm from Hull.